Welcome to the last video of this series, Installing and Configuring a Virtual Whitewater Cloud Storage Gateway. My name is Chris, and thanks for joining me on this final step, configuring Symantec BackupExec to use the Virtual Whitewater appliance. In the previous videos of this series, we covered how to install the Virtual Whitewater Cloud Storage Gateway and how to configure it for use with Amazon S3 Cloud Storage. The final step is to configure the backup application, Symantec BackupExec, so that backups it takes are sent to the Virtual Whitewater appliance. Symantec BackupExec is a backup application that is flexible and easy to use, and with a minor change to the configuration, it can be used to send backup jobs to the Virtual Whitewater appliance. But before we get started, remember that we had previously created a share on the Virtual Whitewater appliance called BackupExec and provided two IP addresses for communication to the backup application. We'll only use one IP address for this demonstration. Alright, now onto the configuration of BackupExec. After opening up the application, the home page appears. We can see that BackupExec currently has a backup job already. Let's take a look and see what is set up. We have a server that is being protected, and looking at the backup job properties, we can see that the storage target is currently set to a local disk target. Switching over to the storage tab, there is a disk target the backup job is going to. It's a local disk, but finite in size. Let's add the Whitewater appliance as a storage target. Clicking on the Configure Storage button, we'll add a disk-based storage device. Click Next and select Disk Storage from the list of options, and click Next again. Enter a name that you'll use to identify the Virtual Whitewater appliance in BackupExec and a description. After clicking Next, you'll identify the Virtual Whitewater appliance as a network share. In BackupExec 2012, the host name must be used and not an IP address. So either configure DNS for the Virtual Whitewater appliance in your network, or add an IP to host name mapping in the Windows hosts file, as shown here. Since the Whitewater appliance share is a CIFS share, we can double check that the configuration is correct by simply mapping a network drive within Windows Explorer. Okay, now that we've got the right universal naming convention path set up, we'll enter that as a name for the network share in BackupExec. Click Next and verify the configuration, then click Finish to add the Virtual Whitewater as the storage target. Before we modify any backup jobs, a quick word about best practices. If you examine the storage properties, we'll want to increase the maximum file size for Whitewater to something in the multiple gigabyte range, such as 20 in this example. We'll also want to bump up the number of concurrent write sessions to be able to max out the data interface to Whitewater. Set this appropriately for your environment, and then click Apply to commit these changes. Now let's come back to the backup jobs. Remember that the system is already being protected by BackupExec to a local disk. Right-click the job and select Edit to bring up the job properties. We'll click the Edit button here to modify the backup storage target for the job. In the storage selection from the left menu, we'll see the full and incremental backup jobs point to local disk on the right. We'll modify this and point it to the Virtual Whitewater storage target instead. Click OK here, and OK back at the job properties screen to complete the change. All that's left is to test the backup to the Virtual Whitewater appliance. Right-click the backup job and select Run Now to begin the operation. Since this will take a little while for the backup to run, let's go ahead and fast forward this to get some data onto the Whitewater appliance. As it progresses, we'll see that data is being received by the Virtual Whitewater appliance, and in turn, is being stored up in the Amazon S3 cloud. Perfect. With that, this concludes the video series for installing and configuring a Virtual Whitewater Cloud Storage Gateway. For more information about the Avnet Whitewater solution, please visit riverbed.com/whitewater and avnetcloudready.com/cloud backup for enterprise. Thanks for watching.